This is my second take because the first one took like 2 hours. That's too long. You can't watch that. Okay, we're going to go really fast. Today we're talking about transracial adoption in children's literature and the common tropes that you're going to come across. This intersects with childism, racism, and catering to the white gaze. So, victims versus saviors is a big theme that you're going to need to know about. We cover that in part 3 of Smashing Wealth Inequality. I suggest you read it. I put a lot of work into it, and it is full of good things. Basically, it feeds into a binary trope of people with agency and control and intelligence and people they are helping because they are worthless and pathetic. In this case, childism, who knows best? The parents, who doesn't? The children, who knows best? The white people, who doesn't? The people of color that they are usually adopting, because let's admit it, recently, a lot of white parents adopting children of color. Okay, so what we're seeing in children's books is this idea of victims and saviors. Quickly, the reason this is an issue is if your ancestors dug a giant hole, do you throw down a rope and have them just try and scramble their way up, or do you get down in there with them and help, I don't know, dig a ramp or something, right? You need systemic change. Work together. And we can't work as equals, and we can't respect each other's perspective and listen and understand each other if one group's narrative is constantly dominating the others. In this case, all adoption books are basically centering the parent's experience, even if they're narrated by a child. So, what does this have to do with our theme about anger this month for March 2009? There's this idea of obligatory gratitude. Because children of color have been rescued by these white parents, they are obligated to appreciate and be grateful for the privileges that they are getting as a side effect, while also denied of those privileges because they have to navigate through the world as people of color. Their anger and their ambivalence about this must be hidden to avoid the white fragility and backlash of the people who basically control everything about your life. Now, we need to give space to transracial adoptees to let them talk about this and to discuss the problematic issues with this, maybe the benefits, but we don't do that. Most of these books that I found, all of the books that I found, are not written by transracial adoptees. They're written by adoptive parents or by just outsiders who have no relationship with adoption. So, why don't we talk about this? Why is this so prevalent? And the main issue is because all of this literature, all of the dialogue about adoption focuses on coddling parents and helping them deal with discomfort, having the worrying about their white fragility. And I'm not saying that parents of color don't adopt, but you don't really see that in kidlit. There's a few books, but still not a big deal. And they're not treated like saviors the way that white parents are. So, this trope thrives because we prioritize coddling white parents over validating and giving voice to transracial adoptees. Children of color do need adoptive homes. We'll get into why later. There's nothing inherently bad or wrong about being a transracial family, a multiracial family, obviously. But that also doesn't mean we get to erase the impact on communities of color and indigenous communities that these children are adopted out of. We can support adoptive families and still have tough issues that we have to understand and untangle. And of course, I feel like I don't need to say this with Petraean supporters, but not all parents. So one of the things we really have to understand, and this is troubling for every single parent, including me, to understand is that our children's experience and their challenges don't begin and end with their short time with us as parents. Particularly for, I don't know what my child's experience was in the womb. An adoptive parent, they're not 100%, they don't exactly know every single thing that happened. If it's a transracial adoption, if it's a transnational adoption, that child had a life before they joined this family. That doesn't make this family any less real or valid, but they had some experiences in that. The same way, a child of color is going to have experiences out in the world when they don't have their parents with them. They're not always going to be able to benefit from a white parent's privileges.